VOD people, I hope you're having a good day. You've had food, water, everything you need to get done. It's been a few days. Last time we streamed was Friday? Something like that, I believe. I am still doing the go lives. There we go. Load. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Fantastic. And I need to get the viewer bingo going so that the people who are alive can play bingo. And it's taking forever. I know I started a game. I want to end the game. This is why I have to go through extensions and do all the BS first. But we're going to be continuing again today. I hear a chat. I will say hi in but a moment. I am starting the viewer bingo. Start, please. Actually do it. Fantastic. So I make sure I have that all up and running. Hi, Penguin. Hello. We are continuing Hardcore Amalgamation. We finished a community challenge. This is day 3 of it. We got really far. We did one run on day 1 called Bob, because it's just a random... It's not even because of Billy Bob. That's actually because of Xralia, because she always names things Bob. So I went, you know what, I'm gonna name it Bob. And then Billy Bob requested, after we died the first run, that the second run we name it Billy. That lasted us all the way to the... Jeez, Billy! Speaking of, 25 stream streak. That is fantastic. I appreciate it. The second run lasted us... The second run, Billy, lasted us all the way over when we're continuing the world when I can get this done. The second run, Billy, lasted us all the way to the end of the stream, and only 10 minutes into the second stream, I got one shot by a zombie through a wall. I just clipped a little bit too much, and it clipped a little bit too much, and I died immediately. So we had several more runs with progressively worse names. I named one Pumpkin Seeds, then we named one Cranberries, then ADHD, and I ran out of names after that, so I said, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna start naming them after my mods. So the first one's Pumpkie, and that lasted us the entire rest of the stream. Right now, we're all the way out, like 5,000 blocks almost out. So we're dealing with max level mobs, level 50 mobs, and we did make it back to the stronghold again, so I'd at least be at the same place we left off last time. Or the first time, I guess. We were killing a bunch of farm animals and leveling ourselves up a lot. So let's hop in right where we left off. Boop. Is it gonna pop up? Is the game gonna show? Thank you. Also, I have caramel hot cocoa. So let's see how many times I forget about it today. I'm aiming for 5, 6, probably. Something like that. Depends on how much I'm actually drinking at it and how many hydrates Billy Bob decides to drown me in. So the stronghold is really overpowered, and it has, speaking of, there's immediately a hydrate. Yep, 2 hydrates, okay. 3 hydrates, 4, 5, 6. Need to count that, 7, 8. 9. I need to put a timer on that. I need to put a limit on that. They're still going through. Okay. I see them as they go through, but the alerts up above take a minute to actually show all them, so yeah. Alright, I chugged through half of my cocoa. All the way down here is a, if we get to it, where is it? All the way down here is a completely finished nether portal right below the main portal. There's another hydrate. No, they're still going through. Okay, that's not new. That's not a new one. They're still just very slowly getting through. So our goal is to basically sneak our way down into the main thing down here and immediately get into the nether and start mining for netherite. Do I have diamond? Why am I wearing chainmail boots? I spent too long editing. I was editing all day today. Or not all day. I was editing all morning the first run, Bob and Billy, and I completely forgot what I'm working with. Okay, we have stuff I can upgrade myself. That is not what I need to do. We're gonna make a smithing table. Par for the course around here. I can't do this with chainmail boots, so I should actually instead make some iron boots. Which does just about the same thing. We're gonna turn that to gold. I have the iron to waste for this. I do not have the diamonds to waste. Oh, I forgot I had a pretty good helmet. There we go. And so now we're completely diamond. And it's a good question about what I can do next. We still need to actually make the tools leveling table. Going through my 50th run of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, I wish you the best of luck. I could only imagine that it's, at the very least, slightly annoying to go through over and over again. Oh, we have the perfect amount of diamonds. Fantastic. I do have the singular book. I do need obsidian, though. I mean, there's a lava lake all the way down there. Where is there an obsidian room? There's an enchantment table down there. Hold on. Hold on. This way? This away. Okay. Everything around here is level 50. I beat it each time. Jeez. I have, how many hours is it now? Hold on. I could check on my phone, I'm pretty sure. I have closing in on 1,000 hours of Skyrim. I've never beat the main game. Not once. I've never done the main quest line. The farthest I got, I think, was on Xbox. Not even for, like, difficulty. Just, I didn't bother. Where is my own library? There we go. I just want to see how many... Okay, I greatly overestimated how much time. I have 527 hours in Skyrim. I probably have more if I counted in. Where am I going? Did I pass it? Yes, I did. Take this. And then this seems to be a safe-ish spot. I still need obsidian, though. I still do need obsidian in order to do anything with that. This means I don't have to gather nearly as much, but I still need some from somewhere. I finished the Skyrim main quest about 5 times. I know what it is, I just haven't bothered to deal with it. It's not something that's been worth my time. I'd much rather attempt the Thieves Guild at level 1. Also, I just kind of fucking hate, what's-her-face? I don't even remember her name. The barkeep lady. I just absolutely hate her. She is not a lovable character at all. Okay, I'm gonna go back to... Where am... What? 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 Why? 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 Okay, going insane. Great. I want to say like Dorothy Darlene, something stupid. I have... What is it? It's gonna drive me insane. Skyrim main quest line. What's her name? Delphine. Delphine's the bitch. Like, even my first playthrough, I was like, what do you mean the Thalmor must be up to this? What prejudices are happening here? You know, we're gonna go down very carefully to the lava lake that's over here. Although granted, last week, just casual Monday, snuck into the Thalmor embassy for their garlic. They have a lot of garlic for some reason. And I have a legendary save with Sneak 100, of course, because I am not surviving otherwise. And even then, with Sneak 100 and Archery 100, I'm not surviving. Look at that. I don't... The magnets, more annoying than I anticipated. Okay, I don't trust caves, so we're also, once again, gonna sit in a little corner. We're gonna take all this and make my beloved tool leveling table. Do I have explosion? No, I do not, so we have to also go find that. So we gotta go back up and attempt to do that. And I don't have, hold on. Actually, wait. You know we're gonna do this. I don't have a smithing upgrade, a smelting upgrade, furnace upgrade, whatever we want to call it. I don't have a sophisticated backpack right now. Could I go? I could probably just go about making one real quick. Oh, nope. We are not messing with any structures that we don't need to be. I'm gonna do the minimal amount of messing with things, actually. I do have the stuff we could make one real quick. Okay, hold on. And then I could switch out back-to-backs. We're gonna do, if I remember correctly, back-to-back. And then we do an iron back-to-back. And we do a gold back-to-back. And then we switch out this one for that. And then just dump everything out. We're gonna do this, and then boop, boop, boop. I'm gonna keep tool leveling table right there. We're gonna keep these down here still. Something like that. And then boop, boop, boop. Because that is the correct order, and no one is changing my mind. Random things that I have also acquired that I do not need, but I have regardless. I guess we're doing this organization. And now I have redstone, so we can make upgrades. I wish to make 2 upgrades. Should we do 3? No, we're gonna stick with 2. Because I could also I don't have a melon, we can't invest in the feeding upgrade. Never mind. We need a furnace and a craft upgrade. I need a chest for one of those. I'm gonna take the random 8 cobbled deep slate I have from somewhere to make the smithing upgrade. Smelting. I don't know why I kept calling it smithing. I don't need smithing, I need smelting. And then I should more than have enough of that. That is easy peasy. Can I remember the recipe though? That's a good question. Can I? Yes, I can. Good. And then I actually need the redstone. I only need redstone for the smelting upgrade. I'm pretty sure. What do you need? What's... Okay, just iron. Smelting upgrade, and then we take boop, boop, doot, doot, boop, crafting upgrade. Okay. And now boop, boop, papa, hold, yep. No. I need to craft those. Craft those. There we go. Perfect. And a stack and a stack. Fantastic. And we just start smelting all that. Boop, boop. And I think with all that said, I'm gonna throw that there. I knew the flint and steel for later. Never mind. I'm wrong. We're gonna continue to gather up those. Okay. I'm gonna be so upset if we follow the same as last time. I'm a level 137. I have 30 damage, 80 health. We're doing pretty good on attack speed. I should probably focus on that from now on, and knockback. We're doing pretty good. Ideally, 100 ideally 100 health, but it is what it is. And I'm gonna kind of cheeky check these. We want specifically explosion. I need to get my hands... Hold on. What do I need to craft? A staff. We don't need it to do a lot, so we can really do the most basic staff if we want. We could literally just do an iron staff. There is a gold staff. We can do that. I don't know if we want to go full netherite. We could go the full thing. I think we're just gonna stick with maybe just a reinforced gold for this run. I don't need much more than that. And I have the exact amount of gold for... I can't, okay. I do not have the exact amount of gold for that. We need to acquire... Oh, there's gold, okay. There's gold. There's gold. Yep. This way. Rain's gotta memorize directions. I am not good with doing this. We need 1 piece of redstone, 4 piece iron. Nope. Hold on. Nope. We make iron staff. We grab this frickin' thing. We make a gold staff. We grab most of this and one of this. And we go, doot. Reinforce that mo. Foe. A powerful staff. And now we just need to actually get the enchantment we want for it. While trying not to die along- There's an axolotl nearby. Try not to die along the way. Is there a chest right here? Yes, there is. Is there anything nearby us? There's things around, but... I'm tempted to grab the redstone from there, but I'm not going to be greedy. I don't need it. I don't need it. If we need it, we can go get it. No. Out. I do not feel safe in the open air. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Is there... something nearby? Is it above me? It says there's something up above. Oh, they're all up there. Okay. Of course they have iron armor! What's new? It's probably just affecting the things up there. By lightning bolt, by efficiency. No. Move the string. That's too high up. We're getting out of the library territory. Eek. No chest. A little look-see-loo around here will do. Where are the chests, though? They are not. That is what they are not. Where am I hearing mobs? Where? In? No? Around? It says 2 up above. Oh, okay, yeah. That's fine. Cut across the hallway. Where is... There is one. Garden Grove, I'll take a diamond and some toast. I will take the toast. Something I can make into the toast. Okay, where... There's one down here. Carefully now. There's a chest right here, nothing particularly nearby. Mending, I'll take that. I don't think... I'll take it regardless. I don't think I can put mending on the staff. We went over this last time I did a staff. When I originally made the staff of fuck you. Explosion! That is exactly what we wanted. And I'll take another mending, apparently. Ooh, that's mending for my claws. That's good. We could do that. There's a chest over here. I'm getting greedy now. I don't have any pearls. That is a problem. I do need to go around and collect pearls. Which further adds to my issues. It's the main room that's going to give me the most enchantment books. And it's also going to be the most... Oh, there's just a full-on spawner in there. It's also going to be the most dangerous. It's just here. Power, create water, fireball. Dun 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 dun. Woo-doo. I hate that this is literally the only pearl to my name. I should have gathered way more while we were in the deep dark. Do I still... Wait, don't I have... Wait, don't I have a waystone for the deep dark? It was literally one of the first things we did. Okay, where did I put my waystone? Okay, it's up there. Just gonna go through this. I don't trust, actually. Hold on. That's a recipe for death. I do not trust a single thing around any of this. We're gonna go all the way back. Where is... I know it's really far out. Whichever one's the furthest out. Moors. The very first one. Oh, I'm gonna be so overpowered. I need a mute because the stupid shriekers don't actually detect things like they should. Okay. And this will allow us to actually gather some things as well. Also, we do not care if the warden spawns. We just do not. I don't need to be hoarding things like that. If I don't need it, I don't need it. We move on. Sweet berries, don't care. You can't even make, like, a juice with them, which I'm really upset about still. Explosion 4? I'll switch that out. Yeah, shut up. Nope. There we go. I just need to acquire possibly some better armor that is actually enchanted. But mainly our beloved pearls. Ring of fire, lightning bolt, efficiency. What is this room? Okay. Is that a warden emerge? Where did he emerge? Oh, I saw you emerge, bro. Okay, thank you. Have a great day. I don't need that either. Yeah, this is what I meant when I said I have a really easy time with the wardens. Obliterate. Where did you spawn in? Should make sure I get close enough to this mofo. Where did... Because I can't let... I don't want you to yell at me. There we go. That did spawn another one. Okay, I just need to stop bothering with going after the wardens. Because it's just going to be a cycle of me killing wardens if I do. Swift Snake, don't care. We're just going after the other things I need. Unbreaking and Sharpness, that'll do. Fire Protection, yeah, why not? If they're like really close, I'm gonna just get rid of them so I don't have to deal with them. Really? Again? Already? I will get Swift Sneak free if it's already just here. Thank you. Harvest Moon rises! We don't care about Harvest Moon, though. I'll take that. That's good. Can you just stop spawning, please? Thank you. It spawned another one anyway. I need to just stop looping it. Oh no, did it not? Did it? Yes, it did. I think I just need... I don't even have an anvil. I just need to get... That is not how I make those. I need to just put that swift sneak on my pants so I can stop dealing with the stupid warden. Swift sneak, thank you. Fire protect, unbreaking sharpness. I also want to do the mending. And then do that. Fantastic. And right. And hopefully we can find some more stuff around for us to looty loot. And because I'm a really fast boy, this ain't too much of a trouble. Because I have like all the things I could need for speed. At this point we have windswept, swift sneak, and then I have like speed 0.15. You were here earlier. Was this our salvation? Yes. Yes. There's some chests over there. You know, I have such a good thing now. Let's go ahead and... No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Not gonna be fast enough to get both of these, but yeah. Yeah. But we'll ensure we don't have another one. What do you mean? Oh, I missed the one. Where did you spawn this time? Outside. Thank you. Really? We're doing this? Just gonna follow the trail of wardens. What do you mean? What? Oh. Thank you. Now can we stop spawning wardens, please? I literally just want to grab pearls in the safest possible fashion. That is all I wish to do here. There's another one up there. Nope. What else could it have been that I got a lot of pearls from? I swore it was the deep dark, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe I did just grab them from the stronghold. Or did I go through the nether fortune? I've been playing too much of this mod pack. I don't know what is what anymore. I don't remember what I was editing between... I'll switch anything. I don't remember the difference between me playing with Penguin, me playing the Billy run. I don't remember any of it no more. Could not tell you. Not a clue. Not a thought in this mind. All I know is grab Pearl. Grab that pearls. That is all I know. And yoink some shriekers. Anything? Yes. Yep. Mending. I could get that elsewhere. I already have. I could go back and get more. I don't need to, though. Pretty place. Is there anything around? Just to be on the safe side? No. I swear. Okay. It's like, please don't randomly trigger a random shrieker that's hiding out in a random spot. Diamond. There's a couple over there. So, yeah, there's like 3 of them right here. I'm just gonna yoink, yoink, yoink. Okay, good. It's not even good XP. That's the sad part. It's not even. I wish it was. It really ain't. I almost used that. Are you... You're shitting me. I just want to see... Okay, yeah, that is good. Where are you? There we go. That was almost a little bit dead. That was almost a little bit. How many frickin' shriekers are on the singular frickin'... Okay. Okay. There were like 3 shriekers on that one. Reasonably, I'm a little bit peeved. I'm a little bit pissed. That's not even worth doing, actually. They're both... Not even worth. Don't know why I grabbed. Apparently I didn't know my own tools. Don't know my own build either. Apple. That's an interesting one. Yeah, this way. Yeah, I know, buddy. I know, you boys. You bad boys. Okay, cool. Nope. Wasn't even worth it. There's a chest over there. From a different thingy. No. Just no. Yeah, I'll take that. Freeze breath. That's my cobwebs. I need to note that. And then sneaky like Honkus. Really? Hold on, there's another one over here. I don't even want to let it. Okay, you're right there. I want to see how many wardens I've killed at the end of this. Ah, almost killed me. Swift snakes. It's just all the swift snakes. One chest. Iron. Yeah, sure. Just fire aspect. And what is you? Diamonds. We want to listen to the other side? What do you mean? Oh, there's a bad boy over here. Yeah, there is. Okay, anyway, what do I need to make a jukebox upgrade? A jukebox. Okay. I'm pretty sure. Let me see if I remember how to do the thing. And then... I don't remember the last time I crafted a jukebox. There we go. What was the other thing? What else did I need? I can't even say. There it is. Harvest Moon sets. Okay. We're gonna boop. I'm gonna pause the live music in favor of the fantastic title that is Other Side. And so we're gonna vibe out for this. Do this. That's another dungeon. That's another dungeon boy. Oh, by the way, fun fact with me being so overpowered. So my hands are empty, yeah? That was not an empty hand. Yeah, so... It doesn't... Let me turn down the jukebox. I love the jukebox. Let me turn it down a little bit so it's not overpowering. Okay. So... It doesn't... The attack stat doesn't necessarily affect weapons. It affects your general damage, which means even unarmed damage is still 30. That's 30 is just your new base damage now. So it's even more with... Oh, where are you? Why? You. That is why. Oh no, you're right there. I don't know where you came from or why. Oh, I see why. I see. Again? How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Oh. My wardens. Okay. No, not allowed. It spawned one anyway! Great. Yeah, it really just doesn't know what to do. Poor warden. I have one more piece of toast. There's something up there. Go into that next. Shh. We're hunting shriekers. Oh, for star's sake! That was a fake portal. That's cool. That's a nice detail. Where is you? There you are. Thank you. Are you done? Thank you. Run. No capes. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. I'm just gonna go end up completely clearing this place out because I'm tired of dealing with these mofos. Just let me come over here, check if you have pearls, and move on with my life, okay? Okay. I almost wonder if I'd gone in a different direction. Like, we're all the way back here this time. Turn my sounds back up. I almost wonder because I didn't... I just want to double check something because I'm curious. So when I looked for the stronghold, I wasn't... Oh, shut your mouth! Thank you! Oh, that is why. There's like 3 of them over here. Another one right here. Where are you? Right here. Thank you. Okay, both of you. You are gonna listen to me talk, okay? Thank you. So, when I looked for the stronghold, I wasn't nearly as close to spawn. We were somewhere up out there. I don't remember where we were when we started actually looking at the stronghold. I might have looked for it back here. I don't remember how soon I made. We're gonna look for a random structure, and then we're gonna look for the stronghold. I'm very curious if it is genuinely that far, or if maybe I didn't look close enough. No, okay. It was worth the thought. It was worth the just in case, haha. Saw way back here. It's like so many of them. If I uncrouch, I'm actually gonna trigger something. Like, put the live music back up. Get rid of that. And we're gonna burn through all 3 of these. So I can burn through these. No. We good? Cool. And just gonna double check because of those mofos. How do I get to an appropriate place which can act so? It spawned one anyway. Okay, just go. Just go. Oh, it only took half of my health. Okay. Yeah, I know, you cranky butt. I know, I'm getting to you. You're next. Don't worry, don't fret. If I'm not careful, I will still die, though. Mending and venomous. What do I have? Just venomous. Okay, that's even a better venomous. No. Thank you for your considerations. Thank you. This is just gonna very quickly become a warden graveyard. Are we done? Thank you. I'm missing like half of these chests because I'm going shrieker hunting now. Excuse? Thank you. Was even worth it. I did check that one. That's where we got the axe. I don't think this is worth it no more. Perhaps go about... finding somewhere else to get ender pearls? Stronghold's the main source I know. Although there are most certainly others. Fashion, fortune, say... Oh! Oh, that's Silk Touch, though. No. Okay. Yeah, we just triggered another one. I do not care. I just want to see what's around me, what's going on here. There's a waystone over there. Which one did I just come from? Is that a different ancient city? Have I accidentally found the ancient city in this playthrough finally? Even though I started one, this is a different ancient city. This is a completely different ancient city that we did not discover. This is a tri-ancient city. Yes, I will hydrate. Oh my hot cocoa. This is a tri-ancient city. Out of all of the worlds that I could have had to try and defeat the Ender Dragon in a hardcore modded Minecraft, it's the one where I spawned in a triple ancient city. Steal some golden carrots. And the stronghold is 5,000 blocks away. That's great for me. I love that so much. We're just gonna run through here and move along with our day. I think that might beat the leaving an ancient city and finding a new one. Or what was the last one? Went to an ancient city. Went and defeated the Void Blossom. No, it wasn't the finding the ancient city, but last finding the Deep Dark by accident. Was living on half a heart and finding it. With Lilac. That was the very last one. I'd be willing to say this one beats it. Simply because of the scale. It's not nearly like, oh, such a dangerous thing. It's just the simple scale of the seed itself. It's simply the magnitude of bullshit that has been presented to me today. I just want to find a structure that offers me loot. There's a player base over here. Give me this. Melons. Other stuff, other stuff. I'll take some of that. I'll take a little bit of that. It's done smelting all my cooked meat bundles. Fantastic. We'll leave it on that. Oh, hi. Increases. Do I have a necklace? Oh, I'd much rather invincibility. We'll keep the panic necklace just in case. If there is such a panic. I don't know why I keep doing that. Is that another ancient city? Is that... Don't tell me. I don't care that I'm running through it. I need to know. I need to know. Just gonna confirm. It's another ancient city. How many are there? Oh, there I go. How many are there? Surprised I didn't trigger that over there. I'm just gonna move along with my day. That's what we're gonna do here. I'm gonna move along with my day and hope I see another fucking structure. I'm still on fire from the lava. I ignored a mimic for this. That's what I did. I ignored a mimic for this one. More golden carrots. I'll take it. Golden carrots are... Hey, mimic! Golden carrots are good food. Mimic. 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 You're level 7. Has a chance to strike attackers with a lightning. I'll keep it. Don't need chainmail boot. I'll take a little bit of that though. Okay, carrying on. I'm just gonna attempt to go in the completely opposite direction of the stronghold and just see what that offers me. I'm just oh, hey, there we go. That'll do. This way, yes, yes. Just going to double check. I wanted to focus on attack speed, 4.7. We want to get that up to preferably something like a 5. Where is he? Okay, thank you. Have a great day. Let me get in here. I still have this up in my inventory. I haven't been using both of it. Okay, so I can almost one punch you guys. Noted. With roses. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Goodbye. This almost makes me want to revitalize my... Daily cranberries! Hello, Wolfie! Hi, hi! We are continuing the hardcore. I am on a different run, unfortunately. This is like run, what, 7? Something like that? Okay, y'all back off. Thanks. Yummy cranberries. Oh, I need to get rid of that. We did Bob, Billy, pumpkin seeds, cranberries, ADHD. We're on run number 6. Hydrate. Yes, I will hydrate. With my delicious hot cocoa. Oh, what is that? Ring of fire. Excuse. Well, out of here, thank you. They don't even offer much XP. I'm used to sitting out in the maxed out area. I really just need to deal with it and just deal with the stronghold. Because none of these things are giving me the pearls I need. I've certainly discovered plenty of ancient cities along the way, if I don't stutter my way through this. I've discovered plenty of ancient cities. I still have the 1 pearl from the stronghold, and I have yet to come across another. I think the only thing that has like the only other thing that has like guaranteed pearls. Excuse. Out of here. Would be like the Nether Fortress, right? Excuse me. No. Thank you. Have a great one. Have a great time. Oh, we are 5.1 attack speed. Okay. We're gonna up our damage then. I literally just want pearls. I swore I got some pearls from here before. Complain you shall receive. Hello, thank you. Any spawn? Yes. Gotta make sure, what was this? Necromancy. Please? Thank you. Yeah, okay. Get rid of the spawner under the floorboard. Chainmail armor right there. Noted. Okay, homestead up. Blast protection. Not so many. There's. Oh, you can't get up there. I know there's not. Pearls up there! Hello. Okay, so rare, but there, and when they are there, they're there plenty. So yes, continue getting these. Okay. Now I just need 2 more. Excuse? And there's nope, not over here. Great, great. Fantastic. There we go. Big room. Plenty of stuff. Same guy. Boink. No. There we go. Give the bup up. What do you mean? That's what you mean. Ooh, the hand's cool. This should... Hey, how are you doing? Nope. These... Oh. These should possibly... I don't need... Possibly have... Golden carrots? No? You got golden carrots? Excuse me, I don't need. Taking off the frickin' magnet. It was helpful, now it is not. Storing melons. I could use that for the feeding upgrade. I don't have anything. Golden carrots. I don't have anything the feeding upgrade would be extremely helpful with right now. Excuse. I'm just looking for eyeballs. You got any leftover eyeballs? Where did you come from? Leftover eyeballs. That is all I want for being here. Leftover eyeballs! That's exactly enough. That is perfect. Okay. So I think from here what we do is we find whatever waste stones are nearby. If there are. Please. There's a camp over there. Is that another ancient... Is that another... Where was I going? What was I doing? I don't know which direction it was anymore. I don't know what I am doing. That way. So, orient past that. What is going on above me? Oh, just a whole pillager party. Great. Is this way? No? Other way? Which way? What way? This way. Yes. Figure it out eventually. Very slowly. Oh, lava. Being a phantom is its own slight jump scare because I never really know what's going on. I never do. There we go. Here's a thing. It's a spawner. You want to at least try and spawn one before you're gone? No, we're just gonna sit here, enjoying life together. You, me, and the weird little guy in the middle. No, nothing. Not even a... Okay. That was just sad. Thingies, thingamabobs, berserk, diamonds. homing. I don't need that. I do not have a bow. That is just empty. That is not. Well, do I need leather? No, I do not. I have a different thing. I don't need the thing. Okay. What number is this? How many ancient cities is this now? How many ancient cities have I frickin' seen? Because let's just confirm. Let's just get it out in the air. Yeah, that's a brand new one. That's a brand new portal thing. Brand new sculpture. That is a brand new. Oh, hello. Please don't trick me. Please don't be the Void Blossom. Is it the Void Blossom or is it a lush cave? Is that a cactus or do you have the file? No, it's just a lush cave. Fantastic. I have been blessed. We just have a nice, genuine lush cave, and I need a genuine waystone. Y'all gotta... You do have one of those. Thank you. I'll run through the walls here. Forget bouncing off the walls. I'm running through them. Boop. I don't know why I took damage. But I did. Hey, I'm getting a bunch of diamonds now. Great. Fantastic. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to the original place. And for a particular reason, I want to be as close as possible to the center of the world to make this nether portal, because things in the nether start at level 25. So... yeah, I kind of don't want to deal with maxed out, which would be 75 at the stronghold. The original plan was simply, yeah, I would just light the portal at the stronghold, but that's not exactly safe right now. How long is this going to take? There we go. That's how long. Did I lose like half of that? No, it's over here. I did lose one. That is... okay. And you collect all that, if that was enough. Yes. That's more than enough for a portal. Probably could have done a portal what I had initially, but you know what? I got the dough to do this, why not? Be a little cheeky. I do not have a flint. No, I do have a flint and steel. I just completely forgot where I had it. Make sure I don't immediately fall into lava the moment I get out of the portal. And we're gonna need this. And fire protection efficiency. What's not... my boots don't got anything. Booties, meet fire protection. Keep my feet from getting burned. We'll bring down the pumpkin pie. And we no longer need... I didn't even use... did I use this? No, I did. I'm a complete liar. We used it a bunch. And now we're gonna see what in the world the Nether has to offer for me. Nether, please. We need to go deeper. Incendium, all the normal things I expect. This is definitely not plains. I can see one chunk on the map and that is it. If you kill me to a glitch, I'ma be pissed. Negative 1400, 1500, 1600, 1700, 1800. There we go. Well, this is a great spot. I hate this. I'm gonna hope my speed does not help me as much as I hoped. Okay, we come over here and we say no to the world. We go down to about 13, 14. About here. And we just start digging. You're lagging, game. Thank you. And we take all of this, and the magic of this, so we grab this. No, I did bring my ammo. We take this. And then, hold on while I'm doing this. We're gonna ignore this for a flat second. So I could do this. I don't have the experience for that, never mind. I'm wrong. Thank you, Kofi Bot. And then we can slowly start upgrading it with the netherrack. I need quite a bit more netherrack to do that first. Excuse. No. Oh, that didn't take long. That really didn't take long, okay. I'd only need like 8 for my tools, for my weapons, and then plus another 16, so we're going for like 32. Is that math? That's not math. 24. I did not need to immediately throw that away. That's not what I needed to do in that moment. And the hope is, yes, I do not have blaze powder. I have not actually made Eyes of Ender yet. The hope is that while we're down here, there are many repurposed structures. Repurposed structures is what's given us the stronghold that we have. It also gives us mine shafts in the nether. These mine shafts have blaze spawners. So the hope is that while we're mining around down here, eventually we're gonna come across a mine shaft and then just nick the blaze spawner from that. Or nick the blazes from that. You know what, in order to help like further incentivize this, I'm just gonna dig in one direction. And hope that we come... Okay, for a second I thought that was the nether fortress. It is not. I mean, if we come across the nether fortress, that works too. We're a little too low for it, but if I'm constantly checking up on where the area is... Gold is really good, yes, but we can literally fully upgrade it, upgrade the staff to 30, or all the way up to 29 with purely netherrack alone. So that is the goal. And now we sit tight for the mining time lapse of me slowly going through this and breaking. We'll find out how many hammers. I can get through, I think, 6 or so of them. But we sit tight for the mining time lapse. Oop. Now we can sit tight for... Is there anything nearby? No. Now we sit tight for the mining time lapse. Very slowly but surely. Jeez. I'm very excited to get into editing this. I need to still post the VODs. I haven't gotten... I don't think I've even gotten the last VOD up. I don't think it's even scheduled yet. I believe that's supposed to come out... I don't remember which VOD was today. I honestly do not remember what it was. Hold on. We're gonna go find out. We'll go find out real nice and quick here. No, I do not want to. What was it? Phantoms can... Okay, so yeah. The next VOD, aka Thursday's VOD, and also the video that was today, is going up tomorrow. It'll probably be a late post. Unless I manage to quickly make a thumbnail in the morning and get that scheduled. It takes a minute to upload, so I'm not completely sure if I'm able to do that. Gotta go grocery shopping tomorrow. Use. There we go. And I have a feeling this is only going to get more painful as we go on, but we're going to just try and go as fast as we can. I'm just going to prep a bunch of these. There we go. So I could just grab and go these. Oh, you still have like 84 left. I don't think we... Do I? I don't really need my axe on me right now. We don't need the flint and steel. I don't need the compass. Technically, I don't even need this. Trying to be as efficient about this as I can be. I do the best with what I got. Do the best with what I got. That is not doing the best. Frickin' lava everywhere. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I love to see that. We love to see that. It's just rivers as far as the eye could see. Ah, that's warped. Hold on. I mean, I don't need pearls anymore, but it's cool to see regardless. Oh, you know what? You know what I could do instead of just hoping for a mine shaft? Yeah. You're kidding. Okay. We're gonna just go this way. We're just gonna keep going this way until that thing starts pointing directly east. And directly to our left. Minecraft? Don't tell me. Yep. Hi, Gauntlet. How are you? I'm still muted in-game from being around the skull. You know, I'm just... Yeah. Goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you. Don't... Okay. Yep. Okay. Explosion 13. Slowly but sure. Slowly, ever so slowly. This is fantastic. This is such great content, such great commentary. I love this so much. How's your day? My day was good. I played way too much Roblox. Unfortunately, again. I've been an avid player of Row Citizens on and off for a while, since before they had what is now not even the new map. It's just their normal map. I've been around since the classic map and when they started revealing the new map. And then when the new map came out, I've been around for a hot minute. Frickin'. And something I've done for a long while with whatever various houses I'll scrounge up and make for myself. I've gotten really good at decorating in it and found some fun tricks you can do. The blocks they have. Moon walks in, salutations. Hello, Saki Jockey, welcome back. We are continuing Amalgamation yet again. We lost the Billy run, so now we're on the 6th run, Pumpkie run. Forgetting what you walked in the room for. Fair. Speaking of forgetting, Row Citizens, I was talking about that. I've gotten really good at decorating in it. And I learned there's a block furniture item. It's just meant to be something you can scale around, you can mess with to your heart's content. Thank you for the follow. And I found out you can actually use it to place things mid-air, and so you can decorate things way more than you'd normally be able to, because some structures or furniture are very weird about actually letting you place things on it. Because this, like, words. You'll be decorating just as per normal, and it won't let you place on top of certain, like, countertop, or not countertops, there's certain shelves that I won't let you place on top of. It's weird. There's beds you should be able to place on top of, you can't. And you can use the block to just absolutely break it, and I love it, and so I've been able to make a lot of cool designs with purely that function. How close? There's the mine shaft. We'll hit it in just a second. And then we can steal some blaze rods. Oh, I have enough. Hold on. We go boop boop. And I could probably come back here and grab a bunch of this. And then we go boop. And quartz is worth a little bit, but that's not. I'm not going to bother with that because that means I'd be upgrading fortune and doing that whole loop. I'd much rather do a slow netherrack loop and just do that the best I can. It is not what I needed to do. But something I've always done with my houses in Row Citizens is make a little guest house if I can, or have it like available to the public server itself. And apparently I've decided to go all ham on this time. And so what I spent the day doing, I have one of the recent houses, the Chateau. It's this beautiful giant frickin' thing. And so I completely destroyed the Chateau I used to have. I haven't used it in a hot minute. I've been enjoying the modern bungalow instead. And even in the modern bungalow, I do have a guest house going on. And I've just decided to make it the Chateau a full community center. I have like, I think it's a 10 odd rooms that people are going to be able to use once I'm done decorating them. Laundry room. I have my own little room that I have off to the side. I just finished the gym and yoga studio and the showers and bathrooms over there. And then I have the attic upgrade. I have so much freaking money in this game, it's ridiculous. I'm usually sitting with at least a good 100,000, which, yeah, sure, not a lot of money, but also consider that you have to actually... This isn't like this... It's kind of like The Sims. This isn't an super overpowered, you can just do whatever and immediately get a bunch of money. Unless you're just logging in once a week, then technically you can. If you log in once a week, you can get like 25,000 each time. Like almost 75,000 if you're not putting the money back in. Hello, Bailey. 2 hydrates. Are we gonna add more to this? Okay. Alright. After deleting my old chateau, which I had completely furnished, I ended up with like 400,000. So that's great. And I'm still slowly burning through. I've been going through most of the house and I still have 350,000, something like that. Where is the spawner? There you are. That went straight into that fire. And that was the only blaze in this entire place. I can't find a damn spawner. Why is there a hoglin up here? Why is there a hoglin over here? Am I that close to the surface? Apparently, to some surface. I walked through lava at some point. Hoglin! This is why I don't underestimate my own mod pack. And this is also what I get for making it harder. Because it was just A-okay, fine and dandy. But when I was playing through Penguin, I'm like, nah, this is baby stuff. Let's make it harder. Let's make it more difficult. Yeah. Yeah. There's a blaze. Okay, so the blazes do randomly spawn in here. That or there's a hidden spawner somewhere. You didn't even drop. Oh no, there's a spawner right here. Okay. Oh, it's a freaking lava pool. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Are there more spawners over here? No. Okay. And this will also give me a fair source of XP. Did either of you drop? Yes. That's 2. We need 6. Pretty please. Pretty please. Pretty please. Come on. Come on. Thank you. 3. I should have increased my luck. That would help. But alas, I do not have the XP. I need 20 to level up anything anymore. I slowly heal my frickin' health. Maybe I should pop the... I just want to finish off the pumpkin pie, though, as well. Just XP. Very slowly heal, very slowly. Kill off blazes. Where? Oh. Just XP. And Coco all gone. We switch to Agua. Pretty please. Oh, there goes my pumpkin pie. And now we can switch over to my beloved cooked meat bundles. And switch about my inventory just a wee bit more. Thank you. Ah, that's why I love the cooked meat bundle. Full saturation from one thing. 4! Is that gonna fully re-heal me? No, not quite. There we go. That should get the rest of them. The rest of my hearts, all 80 of them. All 40 hearts, 80 health. Jeez, I only walked into the guy and he took an entire row. Everything here hits like a goddamn semi. I literally just need one more. Just one more blaze rod, and that is it. Please? Perhaps? That would be adequate, thank you. Yes, okay, fantastic. And that means we can do this, and that means we can do this, and now we can go to the end whenever we want. Which means we can go back to mining. And getting my ridiculous, Explosion 30 staff. Because I don't trust that Explosion 15 will do the job fast enough. Because not only do we have to worry, the dragon and the Enderman are going to be like level 50. I think the Ender Dragon's locked to 20 or something like that. But that still means it has like 600 health. That doesn't actually help me out too much, unfortunately. Oh. That enough? Not that. Not that. Okay. I don't even need to keep those in my inventory anymore. We're just gonna pop them right there. The less things I need to keep in my inventory right now, the better. Because it means more netherrack to hold. This is gonna be so much fun. But it means, if we do this all correctly, the last time I used the Staff of Fuck You, it took 2 shots with a level 30 explosion staff. So I'm hoping it's gonna take about the same amount this time. Granted, I'm pretty sure that I used it at the end of the magic update. I'm pretty sure the dragon was easier. But I'd rather not experiment and see if it doesn't. I'd rather suffer if I fail. I would much rather that and then come back better the next time. So we just gotta hope. And I gotta make sure while the dragon's spawning in, because we have Young's Better End Island. It has a beautiful cutscene that I will show off to spawn in the dragon. It is absolutely fantastic. Is that enough? No. Maybe. Maybe, baby. Just a wee bit more. There we go. We're already at Explosion 19, though, which is a pretty damn good sign. That this won't take as long as I fear. Which is considerably good, considering according to Minecraft, we're on day 10 of this run. Of Minecraft days, and I haven't slept at all, so that's pretty damn accurate. That's about a good hour or two worth of a run. A couple of... It takes way longer to do 10 days if I'm not sleeping. I know it takes about an hour if I sleep every night, so I'd assume it takes about 2 hours total to get done. Almost. Still checking very often. Oh yeah, Roast Citizen. I spent the afternoon making a giant community center. It took a while. I had to spend like a half hour selling all of my old stuff. I went from 150 like 400,000 money. And I've also literally done one job in this game. You get like leveled depending on what job you do. I've done nothing but the cafe worker, which does start off as less than like anything like a nurse or a police officer. But because I've done it so much, I'm now level 9. I've done it so much, I now get like 181 per in-game hour. Even more if I'm like actually doing the... Oh, goodness. Even more if I'm actually doing the job. Okay. There we go. And I'm this close, I just need like 300 more XP. In order to reach... I need to switch between. I need to switch these. Because this is now less saturation than this. The right slot I will always have as my most powerful food. Or the far most right slot, I guess. I just need like 300 more XP out of 800, which just means I'm actually doing the job. Or, I discovered this. When you're playing like the various jobs in Real Citizens, it will give XP to everybody. So you can kind of just sit AFK, and if people come by, then you get free XP. Which is absolutely fantastic for me. And it's how I've actually leveled up most of the time at the cafe job. I'll just sit there AFK for a few hours while I do this and that. But also the cafe job is just the most fun one, in my opinion. Can you please handle those guys? Okay. You do this. This is still safe. This is fine. And then handle you as well, because you're not safe. And get rid of all of that. Thank you. I've been playing more of my Skyrim A through Z too. I'm slowly getting through a bunch of quest lines just to clear out my quest log. Oh, thank you. And I'm almost at level 46. You get my favorite summon, the A-Lid Lich, which is from a Creation Club quest called The Cause. that deals with this something dawn. It's one of the Daedric gods kind of quest lines. Also, you go into Oblivion, that's worth mentioning. You get my second favorite summon as well, which is a Daedric horse. It's like a magma horse. It's fantastic, my favorite thing ever. And it just means you have a portable horse. I adore- where am I getting? Oh, I'm getting XP from killing things, yeah, that would do. That would do it. Steal some of that. More netherrack I can get into better. It's a slow grind, but it's a good grind. Oh, there we go. Get another level out of that. 23, so we just gotta do that 7 more times. Do all that. It's getting harder and harder to find new games on Roblox that I'm willing to play, though. Because it's just kind of, for lack of better words, a cesspool of either AI content, Lego textures. If you have Lego textures, I just refuse to play it. I've only ever had one game that was worth it that had Lego textures, and it's because they actually ingrained it into the style of the game. It was Noob Plinko, I believe. And when I say ingrained it into the style of the game, I mean every time you did anything in that tycoon, it would actually build it like one of those old-fashioned Lego games. And it leaned into the Lego so heavily. Instead of, oh, it's just a cheap cop-out and the screen is covered with different things you're supposed to buy. With Robux, with real-life money, of course. And then this stat and that stat. So I've ended up just kind of going back to old games. Like, I guess I'll play this and get hyper-focused on it for about a week. And then go back and find something else. Or go play more Plants vs. Zombies again. I'm slightly miffed at Plants vs. Zombies. I have not been feeling like grinding out another 75,000 money, which realistically is maybe just an hour of gameplay. I do, if I'm successful or at least get pretty far in 2 hard runs or 2 crazy runs, then I can manage it. And which I should be fairly successful at this point. I have like... I'm just gonna handle these guys real quick. Which I should be fairly successful at this point. Considering I have a maxed out character. But at the same time, I don't want to deal with it. I have like half of the characters in the game. I literally want one. I want a toxic P. You cannot buy specific characters. I just want to get the toxic P. And I'm at a point where I'm just like, I trust whatever happens. I'll usually be on long enough to buy 1 pack. And then I'll be like, okay, I gotta go do something else with my day. And every time I put my controller down on my desk after I click it, and I sit and wait with my eyes closed until I hear that all the cards have drawn, because it has... The way you buy characters in Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare is like a sticker pack, like you're opening Pokemon cards. And it has a little like shk, shk, shk kind of noise every time it pulls a part of the character. What I'm specifically buying in order to try and get the Toxic Bee is the 75,000 coins. And it will fully unlock 1 character. I have about half the characters in the game from doing this. I got a fair amount of them. Or maybe not half, but at least like a good quarter of the characters of the game I own at this point. Do I play any of them? Fuck no. I play 2 characters. The engineer, the sanitation expert engineer, which does toxic damage, obviously. And... Can I attack that? Thank you. And my Plasma P. There is a thing here. Cool. That is all I play. The engineer I have ranked up like once or twice. I think only once at this point. And the Plasma P, I have a fully maxed out character. So it's been fun. Thankfully, I didn't play zombies for a long time, or the zombies team, that is, I should specify. So I ended up just finding the class I wanted to play. For a while, I thought I wanted to play imp. No. Engineer's the closest I can get to Plasma P. Or to the P shooter in general. I never really played the zombie side, so I had like 40 of every single potted bot. It's usually potted plant when you're being a plant defending the garden. It's bots. You spawn in bots when you're the zombie side. I had like 40 of every single one, and so I just ran for a while. I think I still have a fair amount. I have at least like 20 or so of various bots. Thank you, Kofi bot. Speaking of bots, a very helpful bot indeed. So I know I've been like playing the zombie side that much. I much prefer playing the plant side. I have a lot more things leveled that way. And I know how to handle the zombie side a lot easier than the stupid plant bosses. Let's do boop. 27! Boop. Almost. I hit my boom arm. I don't want to deal. I don't want to deal, but I really just need to get myself to sit down and grind it out. Maybe set aside a day. Or just be like, okay, I want to set aside these days. I'm going to try and play Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. If I don't, I don't. But so I could at least make decent progress on this, and maybe one day in the next year, I'll have the Toxic P. I'll have the Toxic P by my birthday. That'd be great. Can I get it in 2 months? Who knows? What? Thank you, mouse. Thank you. It's a problem I have sometimes. I don't know what causes it. Maybe just something's chilling on the sensor. Every now and again, my mouse likes to completely zoom down and do what you just saw. I don't know why it does it. It just does it. It just does. And I'll make 28. After, to get from 29 to 30, I do have to throw in something else in order to actually reach that, but I do have diamonds we can use for that, so. Or I could just throw in like a stack of iron. Yeah, I'm probably gonna need to throw in a stack of iron, because we don't, this is my last hammer. Or my last diamond hammer, anyhow. Unless I feel like going back to the overworld and doing some mining. But preferably, this hammer's enough to get this done. Just kinda gotta hope it does. And gotta be careful I don't attack that guy and get myself hurt again. Might start going to the other side. I might have a cleaner path that way. This one's uncovered a lot of BS along the way. And pick up all the junk I have left behind. Give me that. Thank you. Yoink, yoink, yoink. Oh, hold on. That's enough for another level. 29. So I have one more level, and that'll be enough. So this is the last time I gotta fill my inventory. The horrible commentary will be over momentarily. And me raving about the games I'm trying to play and failing to. That's something good that's come about. I finally fixed my sleep schedule. Which is funny to say considering I started stream late and I'm not adverse to letting it go on late either. The point is, I've been doom scrolling in bed a lot. And it's not good for me, and I finally fixed it. This morning I got up at the 7 AM I haven't attended to, and I still have been, regardless. I do still typically get up at 7 AM all the time. Hydrate? Yes, yes, yes. And this isn't even like a, oh, I'm waking up early, grind set mines. No, it's not. 7 AM just happens to be a good time compared to when I go to sleep. So I'm not getting too much sleep, but enough sleep at the same time. It balances it out really well for me. Is there anything else down here with me that I need to worry over? No. And then clicked all that. Nope. But the problem is, for a while now, it's been 7 a.m. I'll wake up, take my meds, and lay in bed for an hour. So my meds could kick in. But after daylight savings, either because of a change of daylight savings or just being overwhelmed with various projects, not being burnt out after spending so long working on last Sunday's video, I don't know particularly why or how or what, when, where happened. But I got worse and worse about just doom scrolling in bed. Yep, this is the last one. So we're just gonna take... Actually, let's do this. Take some of my emeralds, and there we go. Explosion 30. Then that just leaves the end. We did it. That is literally all I have left to do. While we head back, I'm gonna smelt the 8 ancient debris we've collected, and then I'll craft that up into 2 netherite ingots for my claws, just because. Nether. And I could travel across the world, across the dimension, to here. I'll give it a moment to smelt this. I need to reorient myself of where we are and which way I need to go. Am I facing the correct way? Yes, I am. I just need to get across there, and we need to survive the silverfish. That sounds horrible, but they are level 50. They will one-shot me. I have no clue for certain if they will, but I'm just gonna safely assume that they're gonna one-shot me. It's still a little crazy we've actually made it this far. It's still rather insane. Blow them up. Yes, we will. Yes, sir. We're gonna go blow up the dragon. Don't need this hammer no more. This hammer served me well. There's the last piece of scrap. There we go. 1 netherite claw and 2 netherite claws. We gotta survive the silverfish. Survive the end. And that's it. Then we're there, and what happens, happens. We're gonna continue to be careful. Continue to be vigilant. Diligent, not vigilant. I don't know what that is. Okay, so we can survive it. But barely. I'm very happy I went for 80 and didn't stop at 60 health. I'm very happy about that now. I need to stay here for a good minute and just heal. Maybe God Apple this? Just so I'm regenning a little faster. Can you hear me? Hello? Hi? Oh, it's going after the Endermites. Oh no, it hears me a little bit. Cares more about the mites though. The mites killed him? Right? How are the Endermites killing the guys? Oh, the God Apple to even heal me all the way. God. Okay, are the mites still over there on the other side? No, it's 1 silverfish left. They probably battled it out. No, there is a guy right there. Okay. We just gotta run back across. I'm gonna do this in order to quickly handle you. No, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to touch me. Thank you. Okay. Then this is it. Boop, boop, boop. Also, fun fact, I think this is the first time I've ever not seen this covered in water. Anyway. Please tell me we're not. It's gonna have trouble loading, just like the Nether. So I gotta sit and be patient. And drink our water. We don't touch a damn thing. And we wait. Okay, we keep our head down. Oh right, nullscape. Thank you, nullscape. At least I'm a phantom this time. I forgot. You make the end island horrible. I love your terraforming. You're beautiful, but you certainly make this boss fight way worse than it needs to be. Where is it? Where even is it? There it is. It was having trouble loading. Okay, so what we're gonna do, as this gets started, hold on. Okay. Because I'm not dying because I wanted to show the cutscene. This seems to be a good spot. See most of them. Is there a spot I could see all of them? Not really. No. This'll do. I'm gonna pause the live music. Why has it not started? Please just start. Do I have to be close enough to start it? Or does it have to go through 12 dings? I think you have to get closer. Okay. Be careful. This looks horrible because I have the quick vision on for this. Okay. There we go. No, I missed it! Oh. Yeah, I forgot it does that, so it ruins anything I'm trying to do. Level 10 Ender Dragon. Okay. So it's only level 10. You know what, for this, we're gonna... Do I have a good song for this? You know what? Yes, yes, I do. I have a good stream song for this. Take aim, Derivia Cat, if you're curious. What we're gonna do is we're gonna casually wait. Can I explode that? Thank you. And we're gonna sit and wait for the Ender Dragon. I probably angered some bad boys. Yes, I did. Oh, they're only level 10? And is it? No, it's the dragon that's level 10. That's what's stuck up there. Okay. I was concerned that the Endermen were level 10. They are not. The dragon's here. But I can't do it because Enderman above me. Okay. No, I can. Is it gonna go through a bunch of blocks? There's still a block up there for it? I don't think there is. I'm so concerned. Are there still guys after me? We're gonna get the dragon while it's trying to perch. So I can center. There. We're gonna do this. Come on, where did the dragon go? It's not perching anymore. Okay. I angered an enderman over here. Where is he? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Dragon perching. Yes! Yes! We did it! We did it! That might have been the most cowardly way possible, but I don't care. I don't care. It was worth it. It was worth it. Every last bit of it. Where's the pill? I want to go and no. I'm not letting an enderman kill me after all of that. Where did it go? I just want to know where the pill is. Oh, I see it. It's over there. Can I make it over there, though? That's the question. Turn off phantom mode, otherwise I'm gonna regret it. I just want to enjoy this. Oh, perfect. I just want to see. I just want to enjoy. I want to enjoy nullscape. I want to go enjoy this. We did it! I just teleport me, please. Thank you. We have one eye of Ender. If I see Obsidiolith, we're doing it. Is there an Obsidiolith nearby? Let me get 2 challenges in one. There's a really old challenge I tried to do. Defeating Obsidiolith in modded hardcore. So searching says 0 radius, which means it's probably not nearby. No, it's still trying to search for the Obsidiolith arena. It won't let me. Okay, Bandit Tower. Obsidiolith. Try again. There's one out this way. We'll see how far we can make it and what we can do. Actually, is there an end city nearby? Similar direction. So nullscape really sucks. At this point, this is now bonus content. So we're gonna see how far we can make it across, because you can see the problems arising here. There's a canyon across there. That seems to connect back up, though. So we're gonna attempt to go this way, and I am not daring to touch phantom mode. Bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye, Betty Bob. Have a good night. Okay. Let's get around here. I gotta tell Pumpkie he got me to the end of this. The moment I put in my mod's name, he crashed my game and then gave me the most ridiculous seed ever that won me the challenge. Now ain't that funny. Okay. So there is a gap between these, but not nearly as much as it would have been. So 1, can I survive the fall damage between those? 2, is that worth doing at all? Okay, it's here. I'm gonna move the Staff of Fuck You 2.0. Technically, it's not the proper staff because we didn't do a full netherite one. That's semantics. I forgot how fast I speed bridge because of all the things I have. Because I have wind step and speed in general. So I just almost creative place these. Gotta be very careful going through this because I don't know where, when, what, how these were generated. So I could just fall into the void at any moment. Which is not optimal. It really isn't. Another 600 blocks. This is why Elytrian's a good build. This is why. Because of this exact scenario. You very carefully traverse. Why is there a gaggle of Endermen? It's literally surrounded by void. Okay. This way is fine. We're safe. We're fine. Oh, what is that? Oh, it's one of my other favorite This is why I like nullscape. Because, yeah, there's normal end. And then they've reused the normal Minecraft blocks into these beautiful biomes. It's covered in phantoms, I forgot. So we're just gonna try and zoom on by this biome. If I die to phantoms, I die to phantoms, but I'm gonna try not to. I am one of you! Please do not. Please do not. If I got one shot by phantom, that's that, but please do not. Trying to navigate this without dying, and it's impossible. I appreciate the dead coral as a biome as well. Genuinely, it's such a cool idea. A dead biome fits so well in the end. Is there? There are islands up there, that's what I'm seeing. I'd have to manage to get over to them, though. Oh, I need to go this way anyway. Pretty sure. Let me sit in a spot that's safe. There's a dragon skeleton over there. Oh, it has the crystal peaks. That is my favorite biome up there. Oh, geez. Yeah, this is why we like nullscape. This is why. It has my favorite. Look at my crystal peaks. These are kind of shitty crystal peaks, but it's still cool. This still goes on for the foreseeable future. So we're gonna try and make it around here. And hopefully connect back up to something usable. We're almost at an end city. We just gotta hope it actually has something for us. And I gotta hope that it's not way up in the sky. It's probably way up in the sky, ain't it? What's trying to spawn over there? Or is that just shitty gen? Nope, no. There we go. That's my favorite bad boy. Okay, hold on. We're gonna sit in here for a moment. That is a crystal peak. Or part of one, anyway. There it is. Okay, there is an end ship. We just have to actually... Is this all that spawned of the city? It got cut off. So I have to bridge over void to get... It's a very easy elytra, but I do have to bridge over void to get it. There we go. Oh no, it just hasn't fully spawned. That's Crystal Peaks. There we go. Okay. We're gonna build up first. And I'm gonna try and not sweat all over this damn keyboard. I would love to beat Obsidiolith as well. That'd be fantastic. That'd be so cool. Please, I would love to do this. This would be a dream come true. You know, just, well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna stay looking down. We still need to go up quite a bit more. And I just gotta hope I have enough blocks to actually make it over. If not, I could go back down my pillar without having to destroy it, because Phantom, but I sincerely hope I just have enough. Not gonna look with that. Okay. I don't know why it cut off the front of the ship. Did it cut off the elytra? It cut off the elytra. So going up here is actually completely pointless. Oh my god. Is this the point where I'm allowed to / command in my own elytra? Because what the hell is that? What is that? Watch, I'm not even gonna have enough. Oh no, I did. I did. I had a little more than enough. I had more than enough. So I can't just, there we go. Yeah. I think this is more than fair. Rule of cool. I will continue to say this. I have been saying this, and I will continue to. Rule of cool. So now we switch from this to Obsidolith. Arena. 1,000 that way. And we're gonna go up here. I'm gonna hope that the shulker can't quite reach me. Good. This is why I love the crystal peaks! Look at that! It's so cool. And I just gotta hope I can coast all the way out to the arena. Over the void, apparently. $700 more. Okay, I'm fairly over land. Fairly high over land, that is. $500. I'm starting to see land. So that'll help me tell how tall flat I am for this. I don't have fireworks. Hold on. Let's be smart. Let's not be stupid. Let's be a little bit smart. Just enough smarts. I have waystones. I have plenty of them. And we're gonna do this. We're gonna go to the original place we were at. Because there's the other thing nearby, yes? There's this thing nearby. And I guarantee you, it has gunpowder for me. Y'all ain't shit, I just defeated the dragon! Gunpowder, thank you. So now we can safely do this. I'm gonna grab a little bit extra just because. There's 4 pearls in here. Feather falling 4, more gunpowder. There we go. 21 is enough. I don't need ridiculously powerful rockets. I just need rockets. And then after that, we go to the stronghold. And we carefully descend. In order to grab some paper. Protection. We do this just as carefully as we've done everything else. Well, that's a jump scare, ain't it? That's a mighty good jump scare, and it didn't even have any paper. Not a lick. Not a one. Nothing in there. We do not go out there until I've healed. I've remembered this. I realize this. We do not go out there until I've healed. Fully. Come on. There we go. Thank you, KofiBot. With me all the way through. This is a cool guy. This is a cool bloody boy. I want to see where he could have been. He's like on the same level as I am and it's 30 blocks away. I want to see. Oh, it's a magma boy. That's why. That's cool. Come on. Una más, por favor. Thank you. No, we almost did the same thing again. Paper. I would like a little bit more than that. There. You're just here. Let's see, there's a thing over this way. No book. No chest. There's a chest down there. Double check every time, everywhere. Nope. Chest I haven't even opened yet. 2 diamonds. I don't need diamonds anymore. I'm grabbing them anyway. Two paper. There we go. And that is all the rockets I need. Perfectly. Beautiful. We know that could be an absolute mistake, so we go up in the walls and not in the pillars. Because that is asking for death. And now we can go back into the end and not be a slight little bit of an idiot about this. There we go. And now we have some freedom with exploring as well. I can actually look around instead of being, I can't enjoy the beautiful terrain because I have to survive. Also, the Ipsidolith is probably really high up in the sky, so that is another reason I needed to. Still another hundo this way. I am 230 up, though. Where am I? There I am. Oh, I am way high up in the sky. Okay. Okay. There it is. Ooh, it's right next to a mountain, though. Gorgeous spot. Oh, gorgeous. Alright, y'all ready to beat this ace up? Yeah. 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 Oh, it's a looter shulker. That's good. Noted. Bounty box. Socialized loot. One of every type of instance per player loot container in the world. This is such a gorgeous spot for it, too. Oh my god. It's like framed by the natural terrain. That's so cool. This is why I love nullscape. Look at this. Obsidian trees. They have shulkers hanging around. It's so cool. I'm gonna move these up here so I don't lose them. I wanna go back. Hold on. Oh, there's a thing there. I wanna go back to where we started. I wanna go back to where that end city was. I wanna see more of the crystal bot. There's one that, yeah, that is exactly the spot I want. I wanna go see my favorite place in the whole world. I've shared it many times, but my favorite screenshot is of a crystal biome from Amalgamation 1.2. There's a B-roll in the first 30 seconds where I'm like, all the horror mods are gone except for Herobrine. He's integral to the plot. And it's in this biome. This is such a small one. That's sad. But still gorgeous. Look at this. Nullscape can be horrible, but also look at this gorgeous blend of biomes. Was there a little more? There's a tiny bit more crystal. Shadowlands. Okay, that's what they're called. Or are we mixed Shadowlands? Mix of Shadowlands and the crystal? Crystal Peaks. No, this is all considered Shadowlands. That's interesting. Hey, there's a pill! Oh, I love this so much. I love nullscape. I love all the mods. I love my mods so much. So very much. So very much. Alright, I just want to see what's in here, and then I'm gonna see if the phantoms will kill me in one shot, and then we can call it good. I just want to see. Oh, that's not bad. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, Fanty boys. Let me get in a nice, perfect spot for you. Buddy. 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 Homeboy. Friendaroo. Tamadachi. I don't know other words for friend. Matey. Mate. Homeboy. I think I already said that. There's another phantom over here. I'm gonna go to this boy. Buddy! Buddy pal! Buddy friend pal bud friend pillow brother amigo pal. No, not one shot. Okay. There's another ship! I was on the other ship. Hold on. I got a perfect way to end this. We're gonna... Give me that. And we're gonna go to the thing I wanted to see earlier, the giant dragon skelly. That was way back somewhere. I saw it. This way. This way. Yes? Yeah. Going the correct way. Perfect. Yeah, this way. This is where I want to go. Oh, that's a mine shaft. That's the end mine shaft. I love nullscape so much. That's so cool. Oh, if I don't hurry up, I am gonna get killed by a phantom. There we go. Where is it? Is it in the sky? There's supposed to be bones there. It is in the sky. Oh, this is okay. I think I know what I'm doing for my thumbnail. This is gonna be the thumbnail. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Let me... Which button is it? I have one that controls free cam. Control player. There we go. Yeah! That is fantastic. I'm saving that for the final video. This is gorgeous. Oh, that is perfect. I'll probably take another one. Similar but different. For this actual stream. Okay, I am so happy. That surprisingly only took me 3 streams. I thought it might have been longer, that would have died a couple more times. But now I can go in to my stream manager and tell him, yes, we completed the challenge. And now I gotta figure out what the next challenge is gonna be. We'll figure it out. Let me go. Channel points. That is not what I want to do. Mark as complete. Huzzah! I don't know what we'll do next. I have not a clue. But I'll figure it out. I might ask around. But that'll be it. As per usual, the live notifications go over to Discord. And this will be going up onto... Let me mute that. This will go up onto the second channel, the VOD channel. The first one's going to go up tomorrow. The second one will go up Tuesday, and this is going to go up Wednesday, where the second supercut is going to go up on the main channel. And then this video will go up next Sunday, the following Sunday. And I think that'll be it. There's, of course, still Tumblr, Blue Sky, TikTok's kind of there. It's the same stuff as Shorts. And the lovely Ko-fi, which has my builds. There are some starter builds. There's going to be another one tomorrow. And I think that's everything. It's probably going to be late tomorrow. I thought I'd have the morning to do it. I don't. Well, that'll be it. Thank you all for joining me. I'll see you in the next